Hi everyone, it's Natasha and it is a beautiful sunny day here in London, which must mean it's exam time and more importantly, it's graduation time. And every year I get asked how to get a job in finance. And so I know there's a lot of information out there for strengthening your CV, but I thought I'd share with you a few things I look for when I employ finance people and things that are outside of the CV. So, the first thing I would say when I'm interviewing someone is I definitely ask them if they know anything about our organisation. And you would be surprised at the amounts of candidates that come to an interview and they haven't done any research. So, the first thing I would say is definitely look on the company website, look across their social media platforms, and look at any press that they've got. And it doesn't need to take a long time, but you do need to display that you've actually researched about the company and that you understand what they do. And I would definitely take what I've learned off those platforms and see if I can put it in my own words, because that means that when you're asked if you know anything about the company in the interview, you can straight away start showing your prospective employer how you learn and the language that you're able to put around what you've learned. And that starts to show them the sort of finance person you're going to be and how you're going to communicate with people inside the organization. So, the next thing I would say, following on from that, and this might be a really obvious one, but if you are going for a finance job, then you need to look at the financials of a company. And you don't need to go down into too much detail, but if you look online and you get the financials, you'll be able to see what they're doing this year in their current year and what they did last year. And just a year on year comparison of did their profit go up or did their sales go up or what happened on their balance sheet, and just start noticing the difference year on year will be something you can talk about in the interview, and it will give you a clue to the story of the business. And you should be able to see parallels with what you've read about in the press for the company and what you see in their financials. The two should stack up and tell the same story. So that's the second thing I would say for you to look at. The third thing is to think about your transferable skills. And this isn't always easy when you don't have a massive wealth of experience to pull upon. But even the odd temp job that you've had, you'll have skills that you've learnt there. And I'm talking not the tasks that you did, but the actual skills that you needed for those roles. So as an example, I would say that if you had just a 3-week temp job processing payroll timesheets, that what you might put on your CV is that you've covered some payroll, but actually your skills are attention to detail, because it was lots and lots of hours that you will log in from these timesheets, and also that you're able to work to tight deadlines because it's payroll, so there are always tight deadlines. And they're the skills that you've taken from that temp role that you're able to apply to any finance role. And attention to detail, working under deadlines, they are all applicable for finance roles. And even if you don't have any finance experience, think about what you've been doing in life. If you've been in a sports team, for instance, display how you've been able to work in a team and how you understand there's different characteristics within a team and how you might deal with them, because that's exactly what's going to happen at work. You'll be in a team and there'll be lots of different characters, and how you get along, and show how you've led a team if you've done that. And it doesn't matter that it's a sports team versus a team in an office, they're still transferable skills. So the next thing I would say is have some questions ready. There's always that moment in an interview where your mind just goes blank, or you've come to an interview and all your questions have been answered and you're thinking, oh no, when I'm asked, have I got any questions? You have nothing, you're just blank. So have some general questions that you can use in an interview. And I would always say, one as an example is, ask what this role can do that would make life easier for the manager. And then you're showing that you're trying to take the weight off the manager, and you're trying to already prioritize what this role should be covering. And that gives the person interviewing you a chance to tell you a bit more about the role, and for them to say, well, even if it just covered this and this, that would just be a weight off my mind. And that also gives you an opportunity to ask a follow-up question and say, well, have I given you enough examples in this interview to put your mind at ease that I can cover those? Or is there anything else that I can talk to you about so that if you've got any red flags, I can address them now? So that means you can walk out the interview knowing you did your best. The other thing I would say about asking questions is always be prepared to answer your own question. And by this, I mean you might have an interviewer who says, well, okay, what do you think the main parts of this role should cover that would make my life easier? And always have an answer. So that's something you can think about before the interview, and you can just run through it and definitely practice your answers so that you look well read, slick and confident. And on that note, the last thing I would say is when you're going to an interview, everyone gets nervous. But just bear in mind that the person interviewing you is really, really rooting for you. No one wants a bad interview, especially the person holding the interview. We want you to succeed, we want you to get the job, and more importantly, we want you to get the job, be here yesterday, and start helping us because we're all busy. So when you're nervous and you're unsure before you go into that interview, just tell yourself that the person interviewing you is trying to A, help you as much as possible. So if there's difficult questions, they're there to help you shine and to show who you are. And B, they're really rooting for you and they want you to succeed. So try and stay positive throughout the interview and stay focused and confident about your skills and what you have to offer. I hope you found this useful, and if you've got any questions, just let me know and I'll be happy to answer them. And for all of you graduates out there and anyone looking for a job, I wish you the very best of luck.